Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the High Moving Podcast, and Stephen.A. Smith from ESPN is catching a lot of heat for saying that Kawhi Leonard should retire. Now, just a day ago, I did a video pretty much talking about, is it the end of the Clippers era? And even with just Kawhi's injury actually being legit and everything like that, the question still stands. Is it the end of the era? And that's where I was getting at. Pretty much. I mean, these guys are getting paid a lot of money, especially Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and they just for some reason just never able to stay on the court. But Stephen A took a lot of heat for saying this. I'm sure you already seen it, but I'll play some of the snippets of what he had to say. So check it out.
Put the camera on me right now, please. Steve Ballmer and the Los Angeles Clippers should force Kawhi Leonard to retire. I'm done. He needs to go home. Okay? It's over. I'm not in any way questioning the legitimacy of Kawhi Leonard's injury. A matter of fact, I'm fully embracing it. I've heard very, very alarming stories about his health. You see people talking about he's walking around limping all the time. But he is the absolute worst superstar you could possibly have on your team. He's barely ever there. And on top of it all, he does nothing to market or promote your franchise. Absolutely, positively nothing. He got $42 million this year. Him and Paul George are making identical dollars to the penny.
So after hearing what Stephen A. Smith had to say, this caused such a major outroar. I mean, JJ Redick clapped back at him saying, you never played. You don't know what it takes to try to come back and play. And I get that from a professional athlete standpoint. I can understand that, right? But, Stephen A. always says he's a capitalist, always about the bottom line, X, Y, and Z. And from a business standpoint, Kawhi Leonard hasn't been good for the Clippers. Considering the amount of money that he's making, he stated off, they're getting paid 42 point whatever million it is per season. It hasn't netted him any real major playoff success or any type of finals appearance and or championships. So from that aspect, and given Kawhi's injury history, what's the problem? I agree with Stephen A. Smith, man. Like, I don't agree with him. I disagree with Stephen A. Smith on a lot of things. But in this case, though, I agree. He brings up another good point that Kawhi Leonard isn't really that marketable. I get it. Players just want to hoop and let their game speak for themselves. But, I mean, when Kawhi Leonard is healthy, he's a top 5 player easily, right? But, I mean, he's very quiet. He doesn't talk. He gets a big pass, and Stephen A. Smith alluded to this, that, because he doesn't talk, he doesn't really get a lot of pressure from the media. Nobody really comes after him and whatnot. But, I mean, if this was LeBron James doing this or any other high-profile athlete in the NBA doing this, it'd be a big problem for them. Media would be killing them. You know what I'm saying? So, and I honestly think that, in my opinion, I think that Stephen A. Smith, because Kawhi is quiet and stuff like that, and I think it does rub Stephen A. Smith. He'll never admit it, but it definitely rubs him a certain kind of way. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's gonna go ahead and use this situation with Kawhi Leonard to go ahead and try to and flame him up. And there's all this talks about, it's just another black man turning down another black man. No, I mean, this is Stephen A. Smith loves the NBA. He really appreciate guys who are great and that play consistently. And I know all the injuries are not Kawhi Leonard's fault. However, he is just injury prone. And if you're just such an injury prone player and you load manage all season, okay, just to end up getting hurt, yeah, it's not your fault, but you got hurt. Nobody really knew the injury. Nobody even knew, the head coach didn't even know Kawhi was hurt until he found out via text or whatever it was the next morning after dropping 30 plus points, in in 2 games in Phoenix. He dropped 30 plus. He averaged like 35 points in the 2 games he played. And then just to find out that he can't play, like, just there's always something. So yeah, it's probably best if Kawhi Leonard retires, spread that money out, and just start doing some kind of rebuilding process moving forward, where you're not so reliant on Kawhi Leonard to either play. You can build out your roster and try to win games that way, and hope that Paul George can stay healthy as well. I think a Paul George led team, or Paul George with a cast of players, they already have a good cast of players. That's good enough. I think it's good enough to make a deep run in the playoffs, especially with Ty Lue being the coach. But I mean, just the heat that Stephen.A. Smith got was just absolutely crazy. It's not Kawhi's fault, and he shouldn't be forced to retire. I mean, yeah, if Kawhi wants to still play, sure, but I mean, from the Clippers standpoint, from a business standpoint, he's not bringing in the wins, and he's not bringing you anything off the court. And I know that on that show, that episode, they were talking about, well, they have to keep him because they're building a new arena and stuff like that. I mean, that don't matter. You need a consistent winning product on the court, regardless of Kawhi Leonard's playing or not. And that should be the focus of the Clippers, right? If you're a winning basketball team, people will come to that new arena. That's it. So Stephen.A. Smith catching a lot of heat. I understand why, but it's not like he was off basis with what he said. And I think there's a lot of people, even people in Clipper Nation, that agree with that. So just my 2 cents on it, man. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.